We actually don't disagree on what technology can do. We don't disagree really on what the pace of technology can exchange or it can achieve. Our big disagreement is whether the system we're in today is sustainable in the near term future or not, or if we have to go through a bit of a drop before we start back up. I would argue that demographics very clearly means that we're going to have to take a breather here. I don't see a way around that. I don't see how manufacturing supply chains that allow technology to apply at scale can continue this decade without a massive reorganization. But on the rest of this, I'm with him.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with much of what Peter Z has said here. The only thing I would say is it's a linear extrapolation to believe that re-engineering the supply chain will take as long as it has, because we've got capabilities coming from AI that are going to help us much more rapidly re-engineer. We haven't talked about quantum technologies coming down the pike that are going to be impacting material science and biology in an extraordinary fashion. So I think if we were going to try and replicate the old school system we've developed over the industrial military complex of the last century, yeah, it will take many, many decades. But I think we have shortcuts to be had based upon technology. Having said that, yes, there are supply chain issues. We saw that during COVID, which can put us in a precarious situation.
Let me give you an example to show you the promise and the peril. Textiles. Very unsexy technology was the root of industrialization over a century ago. The model has always been the same, and up until the 90s in the United States, it was women in Appalachia with sewing machines. Well, then we got NAFTA, and the model moved to Mexico, where the women with the sewing machines were cheaper. And then we had the WTO, where it moved to India and China, where the women with the sewing machines were cheaper. Then we had COVID, and suddenly we didn't have clothes. So some enterprising folks in North Carolina built some facilities that are 2 acres under one roof that take raw cotton, clean it, turn it into thread, and then yarn, and then cloth, and then clothes. And the end product is cheaper than what you get out of Bangladesh per unit. And these places have a staff of 2. We had no idea we could do that until we were pushed and we found out we had to. We're going to find things like that as we reindustrialize, but we're not going to know what they are until they happen.
But and you're making the exact point I want to make. A company, Variant 3D, that's here in Malibu, is 3D printing clothing at an extraordinary rate in a lights out scenario. And I think this is what entrepreneurs do. They demonetize and democratize. And I think anybody listening to this, there are massive opportunities to get ahead of the curve.
We've only got about 2 minutes left, and I want to bring in what is a great question from one of our audience, which is about the political system. And I want to give it to both of you. Perhaps start with you, Peter Z, because you've given us the kind of almost apocalyptic view in the short term. How has our political system contributed to accelerating abundance? And is it equipped? Do you agree, first of all? And is it equipped to continue to do so? And then I'll come back to you with the same question, Peter D.
Let me give you just an understanding of where we are. We have a first past the post electoral system, which means we have 2 very big tent parties with lots of factions. And the factions move around over time as technology and demographics and geopolitics shift. And if you think in the last 40 years, a lot's gone down. It would make sense for us to rearrange our system now. This is the 7th time we have done this. We will get through it. Doesn't mean you're going to like what it looks like on the other side. But at moments of transition like this, we get 2 things. Personalities from the outside that just stir the pot. We've seen plenty of those. And civil society takes over the governmental process because the government becomes enabled to do it itself. So that second piece, that's social media. That's the Elon Musks of the world. We might not like it every day, but you got to admit the situation's become a lot more dynamic, and there are a lot more decision makers out there when it comes to economic and technological trends. It's loud, it's messy, but I'd argue it's taken us in the right direction.
Okay, Peter D, briefly.
Xenia, I count on entrepreneurship and capitalism to solve problems. I never depend on the government. Period. End of statement.
That was a beautiful, brief answer. Okay, we are outsourcing our governance, is what I hear, almost from both of you, actually. Now's the time to bring it home with closing remarks. I'm going to go to you, Peter D, first. You have the floor. leave us with a reason to believe that yes is the answer to the question, will the future be abundant?
Okay, I built an AI model called Peterbot, and I'm going to ask Peterbot to go ahead and respond to Peter Zeihan. Peterbot, would you?
Peter Zeihan's assertion that we are returning to a world resembling pre-World War II is overly pessimistic. The world today is vastly different, with exponential technologies driving progress. Let's focus on leveraging these capabilities to create a future that surpasses any previous era. I understand Peter's concerns about a pricier and slower world, but I see this as a temporary transition. I believe in the potential of technology to solve global challenges. History shows that advancements have consistently improved our lives. Let's dive into a few concrete examples. 1. Energy. We're witnessing a global shift towards renewable energy sources like solar and wind, with costs plummeting and installations surging worldwide. 2. Transportation. Electric vehicles are gaining traction, with major automakers investing heavily. Additionally, we're seeing advancements in autonomous vehicles, Hyperloop technology, and even flying taxis. 3. Education. Online learning platforms are democratizing education, allowing people worldwide to access high-quality educational resources. Virtual reality and augmented reality are transforming the learning experience.
So that's you can access peterbot.ai if you can ask it questions about it. It's trained on my books and my blogs. I believe in data-driven optimism, and the data has been consistent up and to the right for the past century. And technology, which has made that transition, is not slowing down. It's accelerating. Is there danger out there? Of course. Do I believe in entrepreneurs and individuals to find and solve problems? More than ever before. And I think they're the only ones who do. So is the world becoming more abundant? 100%. It is becoming abundant in terms of access to all the fundamentals.
And now, Peter Z, you have the final word. Your rebuttal, please. Tell us why you answer no to the question, will the future be abundant?
We don't have the redundancy yet. We don't have the resiliency yet. And if things go with demographics and China and deglobalization the way I'm anticipating, we don't have that in finance or industrial materials or manufacturing or, above all, agriculture. And until we do, people are going to get left behind at scale. Hopefully, over the next 20 years, we can work out the kinks of this transition and not lose a lot of what we've achieved in the last century. But if you look back on the 2 millennia of history before 1900, that suggests that unlocking that potential is a lot more difficult than it seems to us at the moment we're in now.
That was a very quick wrap up. Thank you so much, Peter. That's confidence. No, you know what? That's confidence. I like it.